Hello everyone, this is Zooc and this is going to be part 2 of my HuskyStarcraft logo design process thingy stuff thing. So as you can see there, I just scanned my image in and I fixed the levels and I started tracing it. Basically, I'm doing all of this in Illustrator. Illustrator is kind of a difficult software to learn if you have no experience whatsoever, but it is indeed the best vector software out there. And by vector, I mean things that can be scalable, like this kind of drawing. You know, an image is a raster and this kind of drawing is a vector. Or at least it will be when it's finished, basically. You know, logos are 99% of the time made as vectors, so they could be used at any size. So I'm just tracing it, trying to get all the curves right. Of course, making any sort of adjustments that I didn't take into account when I trace it by hand. So just trying out different things, different highlights. Now, my way of working is kind of old, I would say, old school. When I'm dealing with a logo such as this, I prefer to trace every line individually so I can have perfect control over how wide the line is going to be, because there's a lot of variation in terms of thickness in this drawing. Like, you know, if you look at it, it's not every line is the same thickness, and that's definitely intended. So the way for myself to get best control with that is by tracing each single line individually and adjusting it through nodes. Nodes are the little things that basically define each curvature. So I'm not gonna go into like technical stuff because Illustrator is quite frankly kind of hard for me to explain to other people, and it was very hard for me to grasp at first. I was really scared of it. I had a lot of experience with Corel Draw, which is basically the other software, like its direct competitor, but at this point in time Corel Draw is kind of crap, so I prefer using Illustrator, to be honest, because it's in line with all Adobe products, etc., etc. So plus, it's much better in the end than Corel by far, so no reason not to force myself, get over the fear, and actually do it properly. So that will be it. Now, I got a lot of hate from fanboys for this logo. I don't understand what their problem is. Like, on my first video, not a lot. Actually, no, it was only like a handful of people, maybe 5. A lot of them were complaining that this isn't Husky, it doesn't represent him, it's a shitty logo, blah, blah, blah. It boggles my mind how people think they know someone because they watch him talk about their favorite video games on YouTube. Like, this is what the guy wanted. This is what he likes. This might actually be his real personality and not what he uses online. A lot of times people can't grasp the concept of personas, and this is mostly what YouTube is about. People use personas to get certain concepts across, and a guy's real personality in real life might not be identical to what people assume he's like just from the way he makes his videos. So, you know, maybe the guy wanted to rebrand himself into something a little bit more aggressive, more competitive, more this and that, you know. But people were like, oh, this isn't Husky, it has to be happy and smiley and have balloons and puffy clouds and shit. Like, your input is absolutely worthless at this point when the client has made up his mind about what he wants. It's like, you know, you post a video with a design process and everyone is a design expert all of a sudden. Everyone thinks they know better, and it's just amusing to me. Like, I don't get pissed off, you know, I just get amused. And even though I flame most of them, it's still like, it's funny to me. It's funny when people think they know stuff and actually they really have no idea. I just, from the outside looking in, it's kind of amusing. So yeah, anyway, Husky was relatively easy to work with. At first I thought he was going to be like super picky and stuff, but no, I kind of nailed it. Basically, he said that he looked at hundreds of logos. Like, he had a logo design contest from what I understood, and people submitted like hundreds of logos and he didn't like any of them. So he hasn't had a logo in a long time. Plus his previous one was basically stolen from another company, violating copyright, like literally stolen. It was identical to what they used. So it was the one he liked, and he couldn't have that one because he would get sued. So there you go. Problem. So here I come in, make something, and the whole internet gets their panties in a twist because apparently it doesn't match his persona. Whatever. Seriously, whatever. You know, for me personally, when I work with a client, it's like, yeah, granted, sometimes they don't know what they're talking about, but in the end, it's their wish that counts. I mean, I look out for any client's best interest, and you know, in this case I actually like what I made. Like, I didn't do something with a gun to my head. A lot of times when I work with bigger clients, such as like the insurance companies I work with, etc., they come with the craziest, wackiest fucking ideas, like most ridiculous shit, And even though I hate it, I still do it because, you know, you can't really go head to head with people like that because they're used to getting their way. But when I work like freelance and with individual people, sometimes they'll have really shitty ideas and I'll try to suggest better ones. But a lot of times they know what they want. And in this case, Husky indeed had a pretty clear idea about what he wanted. He wanted a wolf with scalability, readability, personality, and, you know, he wanted to be able to use this in a lot of circumstances, which he very well shall. So I don't see a problem there. But yeah, it was fun seeing people's reactions. You know, a very small percentage of people disliked it, but that's because they were butthurt for some reason. I don't know. Doesn't interest me. I got paid, I did my job well, and I got good feedback, and that's all I really care about. So, you know, I'm talking about this because I don't want to talk about Illustrator, because people that have no experience with it will understand nothing from this. But people that are interested will indeed see a thing or two about how I trace my stuff and design my shit. So now that I'm done tracing the wolf, I'm actually placing it in the original frame that I was given. Basically, it was a black square with a blue interior, and he wanted a star there to kind of have a little wordplay on the whole HuskyStarcraft thing. So he wanted the star to symbolize whatever. So I didn't really have a choice about that one. So I put it in the frame, and then I decided to make my own version of it, a bit more dynamic, a bit more rounded, slightly more modern. Because I always said, like, simple square can work, but if I can avoid using a simple square, I'll try my best to. So now this is a more rounded shape with, I don't know, it just seems a bit more sleek. So I'm trying to integrate the star there somehow. Previously it was a very small star, and I figured it wouldn't be very readable at a greater distance. So now I'm trying just various ways of setting it up, different colors, black and white. It's always good to have several versions of the logo and see how the client might want to use it. Like something that can be used for web doesn't necessarily fit on a shirt. So I'm just experimenting with different shapes and colors and gradients, and I have like a whole palette there of gradients that I oftentimes use and change on the spot whenever. So I'm pretty much done with it. I just need to place it on a like practical application like a shirt, as I'm doing here. I have quite a few templates of shirts and various logo mockups. This will actually be the final form. I decided to round the edges at the right side as well, because it just seemed like it would stem from something, and that something didn't really appear. So like this, it's an enclosed object, and I think it fits better. Just putting it on shirts there, and I have a few other templates for logo presentation templates where they show it as if it was printed on paper or glossy paper. Now I'm working on putting it in a spot UV, which is basically a way of printing through which an object is printed in a UV ink, and it looks like all shiny, and it's slightly raised from the surface. So just in case he wanted to get really classy with it and have like a business card with that logo, just gave him that option to see what it would look like. And I think it's pretty much all good. He actually settled on the biggest one on the page here. This one, this is the final one. He's very happy with it. No real comments, no feedback. Everything went as smooth as possible. And I guess that'll be it. Kind of pointless at this point to give any more suggestions because it's final. So, you know, if you have something to say, then feel free. But suggestions and you should do this actually doesn't really belong here anymore. So yes, thank you for watching, and I hope you did enjoy it, and Husky seemed to. So that's good, and in the end, that's really all that counts. And I'll see you for my next videos. Bye-bye.